Hey, I have three important things to talk about today with today's episode. The very first important thing for today's episode is the queen gets her revenge on four people in the palace. Yes, one of them is a man. The king finds out that Hwa-jin is not the person in the well, and Byeon turns on the Kim family, and he does it in outstanding form. I really like Byeon. Too bad he's, on the Kim family side, but not anymore. So let's get to it. In the beginning of the episode, we see that the cross your fingers, they remind us of this cross fingers thing between the queen and the king, which tells us that this little girl is perfectly fine. They take the girl's body away. Hong gets the body, and later on in the episode, we see that she wakes up. She's reunited with her mother. The king removed the mother from slavery, so they're just free, and they can go live a happy life in Korea somewhere. The queen is really happy with this. The king told her all about it that night, his whole plan. So she tells the king, I'm about to be the craziest person in this palace. They don't know what she's talking about, but she roars. She literally roars, and everyone's just like, okay, So-young. But anyway, So-young spends all night long thinking about who betrayed her and how did they do it. She figures out that, okay, Hwa-jin has the biggest reason to want to kill her, and Debbie is the one that came to her room, so they must be working together. She also knows that the grandmother queen is the one that tried to give her the poison. So she goes on her rampage. We have round 1, round 2, round 3 of her revenge. Round 1 is the queen. She basically tells the queen, I'm going to be making all your food and arranging all your clothes and all your everything, and you're not going to know if any of it's poisoned or not. So have fun with that. She goes to, up next, she goes to Debbie and basically tells Debbie that if she doesn't stop messing with her, she's going to burn down this whole prayer photos that she has in order to pray to the former king and to the son and remove all that. She kind of just tells her, don't mess with me. She even tells her, you better not touch any hair on my head either, or you're going down right now. I love that because it's like a you cannot snatch my wig basically moment, and the queen is just wonderful in that scene. Next, she goes to Hwa-jin. This is round 3, and she sees Hwa-jin at the lake, and she basically tells Hwa-jin, you're a dummy. Everybody's playing you in the palace, and you don't even see it. You thought you were super innocent, but trying to do all this manipulating things with me and trying to kill me has actually made you a very evil person, and you just don't want to admit that to yourself. Hwa-jin looks like, yeah, I have turned into an evil person that I don't want to admit to myself, but of course she doesn't want to admit that to the queen either. The queen basically saves Hwa-jin from falling into the lake and tells Hwa-jin, I'm a better person than you are because at least I tried to save you, and she did save her. So Hwa-jin's left thinking, oh shoot, I'm a really bad person, but she does not want to believe still that the queen did not kill her maid. However, in her mind, you can tell she's like, oh my gosh, maybe Debbie is really playing me. Debbie is really playing me. The queen also gets revenge on the Han guy from the future, from like 2020, 2021. The dude that put him in this position he's in the past, he finds that guy and basically turns him into a eunuch so that he can't have kids anymore. Oh my gosh, I did not see that coming at all, so I just absolutely love everything about that scene. So she gets revenge on the 4 people in the palace. One of them was the surprise Han guy that she got revenge on, and now she's still going forth to make sure that her and the king can have a nice time in the palace. She meets with the king in a brunch, now that they're doing those things, and forms an alliance with the king. They do a love shot together. In this meeting at the pavilion, she's basically like, the king asks her if she's afraid of what's going on right now because people tried to kill her. She says she's actually okay with it because she's already died once, but what she really doesn't want to do is be crushed by people. And if she can prevent that from happening, then she'll die smiling. This triggers the king's memory of what little So-young said, or what the girl said in the well, because he doesn't know it's little So-young yet. She said basically the exact same thing. She'll die smiling. And his mind starts thinking, wait a second, was this girl in the well So-young? He goes to meet Hwa-jin and tries to tell Hwa-jin, hey, this person that was found in the well was not your maid. Hwa-jin's still on that other stuff. So she's like, no, it has to be my maid. And she changes the subject to when they were little kids and in the well together. She also kind of looks like she says something that isn't actually what happened in the well, because she says something about being like really afraid, scared in the well, but it seemed like little So-young wasn't truly afraid, or if she was playing it off because she said, I'll die smiling when she was in the well. So the king still has this stuff going through his mind also. Meanwhile, the king is also kind of on his own mini rampage, because he basically tells the eunuch that's the spy that he knows he's a spy. So the eunuch is really terrified now. The king does it in a roundabout way, of course. He doesn't come straight out and say it, but you know that that's what he's talking about. So now it looks like the eunuch is kind of like, oh shoot, I need to be on the king's side now so he won't kill me. The king goes to the politicians, and his goal is that he wants to create a corruption department whose own task will be to make sure that politicians and mayors and all the nobles around Korea are not taking advantage of farmers, because Korea is an agricultural nation. So if you're taking advantage of our farmers, then you're basically destroying Korea. And he wants them to set it up. He's basically like, you're doing it. None of the politicians like this though. Byeon and Yang Pyong play a pretty pivotal role in this episode too. Byeon is important because he basically told his father, who's his adoptive father, that he's not in the Kim family anymore because y'all tried to kill the queen, so good luck trying to survive in the palace. He gets all the Kim family and the Cho family, the ones who have all the power in the palace, he gets them all together and basically tells them, be on my side. And he convinces them all to be on his side. They appoint him as the new minister of the military, I think. Or they appoint him as like the new minister of the two positions that are just vacated by his father and the old minister. He gets that job in this episode. Yang Pyong is important because he saw Hwa-jin give Debbie a book. At the time, he didn't know what this book was, but now he knows, oh, this was the ledger book. He tries to confront Hwa-jin about it. He's basically like, you're not this kind of person. And Hwa-jin's basically like, maybe I am this kind of person. He tells her it's not too late to go back, but she thinks maybe it is too late to go back right now. She's just having a hard time. She brought it all on herself. At the end of the episode, the queen can't sleep because she likes the king. She liked that night they spent together. So she goes to the kitchen and makes ramen to take to the king. She takes it there. She's really adorable in her acting when she asks if he wants to eat ramen with her. And she knows what that means. Basically, do you want to sleep with me? He has no idea what this means. But in a fun turn of events, he asks her what it means. And he also says yes, basically without knowing what it means. In the past, whenever she said all her crazy stuff of no touchy and all that, he always said no because she was his enemy. But now he just says yes to her, which I think shows that he's completely on her side since he doesn't actually know what she's talking about. But whatever it is, he knows it's not going to harm him in any way. So that was just a really nice change. She puts the ramen down to eat it, and she sets it on her book. That's one of her most prized possessions when she was a child. It's the one that she always used to study from. So he tells her, oh no, don't put it on that. That's an important book. She sees the book. It also says, oh my God, it's a really important book, and starts wiping it away and treating it really preciously. He asks, why is this an important book to you? And she doesn't really have any answers for that. So he finally says, were you the person in the well? And she says, yes. Oh, I love it. I kind of feel, we were talking about this, it kind of seems like maybe she's going to pull back from that and say she was the person in the well that rescued him like last week. Maybe she won't say she was the person in the well when they were kids, but I truly want her to be like, yes, I was the person in the well when you were kids, so that they can both be 100% on the same side of each other. That's how this episode ended, and we're gonna get to the preview breakdown right now.